Hey there, guys. It's Sarah here. So, look, today we're going to be doing something completely different. Most of my videos, as you know, if you follow my channel, are about work-life balance and really more about the life part of work-life balance and how you can kind of achieve that as a small business owner. But right now, with everything that's going on, I really want to focus more on the growth strategies for your business end of work-life balance, because I know it's going to be really impossible to apply all my other training if you don't have a small business after all of this is over, right? So one of the things I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is the 4-step strategy that I use with my high paying clients. Okay. So it's going to be pretty in depth. And like I said, this is totally different than what we normally do. So here we go. We're going to dive right in. Now, if you stick around to the end of this video, and yeah, it's okay to cheat if you want to. At the end of the recording, the replay, you are going to see a link to my bonus content for this video. Okay. We've got some really great freebies there. I highly recommend you check it out if you're a small business owner and your business is suffering right now, or you're trying to figure out how you're going to reopen when all of this is over. All right, so here it is, my 4-step strategy that I use when I'm consulting small businesses. It really starts out with doing a super in-depth analysis of your growth strategies. If you don't have a solid marketing system and a solid sales system, a flow line of how you bring customers or clients into your business, then you're not going to have a business, right? So, of course, I work with small business owners who are very well established. And so part of what I have found to be super successful is to actually dive in and see before we go, off into the wild blue yonder, trying to find that secret sauce strategy or that special platform that's going to make such a big difference for you. I analyze what you're already doing. Because in my experience, if you have a history as a business of being able to bring in revenue, oftentimes it's as simple as analyzing what you've done successfully in the past and either tweaking that or slamming it back in if it's fallen out so we can actually get some growth. But right now, with everything that's going on, we're all kind of facing the need to really pivot in our business. So I'm going to be sharing tips on that as well. But before I do, let me actually dive in. I know this is crazy, but I'm going to actually show you the analysis I use when I'm doing this with small businesses. All right, so here we go. Here it is. Now, feel free. You can rip off all of these questions. You can do anything you want with this. I have no problem with you stealing this entire analysis. And here's why. Because I know that I'm a trained analyzer. I'm a trained evaluator of businesses. And you could ask all these questions till the cows come home and try to steal it and build your own coaching business. And I know it's not going to work. So part of the value of this is it gives me the information I need to actually do the analysis. So these questions are not the analysis themselves. The analysis is what I do with my brain and actually help you. But these are really important questions that you could be asking yourself as a small business owner, and they might lead you to an answer with everything that's going on right now. So let's walk through. The first thing, of course, is to kind of get the person in the right frame of mind, what marketing really is, right? Then I have them actually write out, see right here, what are your goals for your business? I have found that this is a super important question to ask as a consultant, because if I don't know that that business owner is trying to dial back their hours while increasing their revenue, right? Then I might suggest a business strategy or a growth strategy that's going to mean you need to put in more hours. Right? If I don't realize that you actually have a whole extra day that you were hoping to devote to your business, then I might not even think about filling that up for you. So it's really important to be on the same page with you. And for you as a small business owner, I do this myself when I'm analyzing my own business, writing down your goals and then checking back in with yourself each quarter or each time you do an analysis of the data of your business to really make sure you're moving in the right direction. Because here's what I find a lot of small business owners do wrong, and a lot of amateur coaches do wrong too, to be completely honest. Here you are at point A at the beginning of the year, and you want to get to point B, but you see a brush fire. And you handle that. And then you do another brush fire, and then another brush fire, and another. And then by the end of the year, you actually just went in a giant stinking circle instead of actually moving the needle on your business towards point B. So super important to have your goals really nailed down. Next, of course, I analyze what kind of knowledge the business owner has on the subject of marketing, because that's super important. If you don't have the knowledge of something, you're going to have a hard time controlling it, and you're certainly not going to be able to be very responsible about it because you don't know the first thing about what you're doing. The next thing, of course, I analyze is how well you're applying what you know. So can you see the power of this? Obviously, I move through each of the different ways that I have seen small businesses use the 3-tier system I'm going to teach you in the next slide to actually build their business. And I ask the important questions, the in-depth questions, so I can see what's missing. Because normally what I'll find at the end of all of this is there's one area that's sort of like a blind spot for a business owner, right? Something they never really learned about or never really understood the importance of. And so they're kind of ignoring that part of their machine, the machine that runs your business. But it's kind of like having a flat tire and trying to just keep going. You're going to kind of hobble along, right? So that's what I'm looking for with my analysis is what areas of marketing or growth strategies are they completely ignoring, or what strategies have been super valuable for them in the past that maybe we could actually use in present time to build your business. All right. Can you see how valuable that is? So that's analysis, and it's super, super important to do that step first. Let me just give you an example of something that I have occasionally found, right? Here's a classic example of a business strategy that's often ignored by small business owners, especially ones who are not trained in marketing. You see a lot of advertising dollars being spent, right? They're just pouring money out the door on a big, big advertising budget and ignoring public relations as a strategy. Well, guess what? That's actually the opposite of what you should be doing, because as Reese and Trout, who are the founding fathers of the positioning era in marketing and PR, as they once stated, public relations plants the seed and advertising harvests the crop. So walk up to any farmer and ask them how well he's going to be able to harvest a crop if he didn't remember to plant it. Not going to happen, right? Here, I think I actually have the full quote here. Yep, there we go. The truth is, advertising cannot start a fire. It can only fan a fire after it has been started. You need something to get something going from nothing. You need the validity that third-party endorsements bring. So what are third-party endorsements? Third-party endorsements are people who are not you and not I, but someone else saying something about your business, whether that can be, doing a guest appearance on someone's podcast or on their YouTube channel. For bigger businesses, we're talking about like doing press releases. So your name gets shown up in places like Forbes magazine, or, depending on what your branding is, one of these bigger TV stations or radio, doing a radio appearance. Those kinds of things are called third-party endorsements, and they are essential to your business, because what happens is when you don't have something like that, you're actually missing one of the 3 important systems of your business. Those 3 important growth systems are public relations, right? Getting good reviews, making sure your customers and clients are happy with you, and also sending your message out to these third parties and trying to get them to talk about you or publish your words, right? Internal promotion, right? Promoting to your current clients or customers for more things that you could offer them. And then, of course, advertising and external growth strategies, right? So if you're missing this first initial step, you're not really putting the system in place that would then make people trust you enough to click on your ad or to answer your call. So that's a very important strategy that, like I said, I often find that one's missing when I do my analysis. All right, in case you're interested, I did want to throw this in there just as a bonus. You can feel free to screenshot this page, because these are some of the PR or public relations strategies that I have successfully used in the past or used with clients. So again, feel free to rip it off. I don't mind at all. So let's get back to my 4-step strategies. So the first one, like I said, is analyze. Really understand what's going on with your business before you try to build another system. The second step is to survey. And by survey, I mean actually get out and talk to people, right? Too many times when I say survey, I find the person, instead of surveying, just went ahead and did market research, which is fine. You should totally do market research, but it's more important, right? More important than competitor research is to understand your audience. Okay. You're not going to understand your audience if you don't speak to them. Especially, I see this all the time. I actually don't work with startups. I don't work with like little baby entrepreneurs because there's a long road ahead of them before they'll usually be able to afford my services. But the truth of the matter is, one of the things I wish I could teach to every entrepreneur under the sun, moon, and stars is that you can't jump ahead to automating your business before you've ever spoken to a single soul. You actually have to speak to customers and interact with them and see what problems they're really having in their life and what language they use to communicate that problem before you're ever going to actually be able to automate and use things like email marketing or sales funnels successfully, because you won't understand who you're talking to, right? It's very important. So one of the best ways to do market segmenting, where you actually break up who you're trying to talk to into different segments and talk to each person individually, which makes them feel like you're talking to them, right? And so they'll actually respond to your ad or respond to your promotion. The best way to really do that is to survey them, actually get out on the streets or get out on social media and talk to people, right? Offer your service for free to 10 people so that you can walk them through what it really takes and you can understand what it's going to take to get them through it, right? Again, feel free to screenshot this page. I have a much more in-depth training on my website about surveying your audience, and I'm not going to try to dive into that right now. But these are the types of things that I would use to generate survey questions, all right? So that's very important, is understanding who you're talking to. And then there is a proper marketing sequence you then use, because what you're trying to do is build a relationship with that person. Now, I teach this workshop or a similar workshop here in Portland to doctors, small business owners who are healthcare professionals. And whenever we do our live workshops and I get to this point, I choose a man in the room. This is always really embarrassing. I choose a man in the room and I walk up to him and I say, "Hi, my name is Sarah. Will you marry me?" And then I wait and everybody in the room laughs. And then I go, "Okay, so can you see how ridiculous that is?" And you can, right? Well, why would I walk up to someone and say, "Hi, you've never heard of me or my brand before. Please pay me $30,000. Can you see how ridiculous that is? Like, you have not even taken them on a date. You haven't even asked them out to coffee. You've barely even met them, and now you're asking them to pay you a high ticket price. It doesn't really work like that unless the person you're speaking to is completely in a state of what I like to call ruin. Like, they are just so stuck in that problem that they can barely breathe. And you happen to be the one who they see first, and they come to you like a life raft begging you for help. That does occasionally happen, but most people, even though they have a problem that your product or service could solve, are not sitting around in complete ruin about it, right? Most people are kind of like shoving it under the rug, or they're trying their best to move on, or they've tried again and again and again with 10 different healthcare professionals, or 10 different scrunchies if you're selling scrunchies, or, whatever it is. They've tried so many times that when you come to them with your service or product, they're skeptical and they don't believe you. So again, that relationship building is one of the most important things you can do as a marketeer, right? As a small business owner, is understand your audience, understand probably where they're sitting in relation to this problem, and use marketing to build a trust base with them so that they actually know you and like you. They've been on a few dates, you've taken them to coffee, and now you can say, "Hey, look, I think we should go steady. I think you should probably pay me at this point." Does that make sense? Yeah, can you see how powerful this is to actually understand your audience, right? Yeah, it's super important. So that's step 2. The third step is to build. And when I say build, I mean put in place systems that are actually going to bring customers from never having heard about you through the process of getting to know you and your brand into actually becoming a paid customer. If you're a brick and mortar store, this used to be really easy, right? You just hang a sign outside and there's traffic that goes by, and then people see you and they go, "Oh, that's a cute sign," or "Oh, that's a cute name," or "I like that discount you've got in the window," and they walk in. But right now there's no traffic, right? There's very few people out on the streets. So coming back here to how we're going to pivot what you have in place because of coronavirus. So again, I know I'm speaking to a wide, vast variety of people. All of you are small business owners, but you may have completely different businesses. So rather than trying to give you the minutia, the itty bitty details of how to do this, instead I want to teach you some simple, basic rules that you can apply no matter what. Okay, so here we go. The first one is the definition of advertising. Advertise means to draw attention to for the purpose of increasing sales or attendance. So you guessed it, you got to be willing to advertise if you're gonna get your business going again, right? Luckily, there's PPP loans. There's all kinds of ways you can find right now and support you can find to actually make this happen. But just recognize that the systems you had in place before are probably not going to work. You're going to need to pivot, and you're probably going to need to have some kind of strategy to draw attention to your products or services. Because right now, the minds of people are completely stuck on coronavirus. They are stuck on safety. They're stuck on fear. And if you want to take even a tiny fraction of that attention away from those things, you're going to have to be really loud and really good at drawing attention. So again, I'm going to show you a couple of rules that you can apply to make that a lot easier for you. Here's my number one rule when it comes to advertising. And this applies to promotion too, whether you're doing paid advertising or not, whatever growth strategy you're using to attract that attention. This rule is you've got to communicate. I know that sounds super stupid and you're like, yeah, I get that. No, let me tell you what I mean when I say communicate. Communication actually has ingredients. There are pieces of it that make it work, okay? And one of those pieces is duplication. Duplication means I can repeat back what you said. If I say, go pick up that thing, you go and you pick up that thing. You don't go somewhere else or do something else, right? So communication includes the person on the other end actually getting what you said, right? It also includes understanding. So educational marketing is a really great way to do this. A lot of the time, instead of trying to go buy from me, you go, hey, did you know that my product can do this, 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 and this, and this for you? Yeah, exactly, right? Like that's education and that's communication. It's getting across your message in a way that they duplicate and understand at the other end. So I'm going to show you actually a really fabulous example of doing a bad job at communicating with your advertising. Okay, here we go.
We've seen a series of one-car accidents recently involving rollovers and serious injuries to passengers. I don't know if it's video games or what, but it's so unfair to, after something like this, to blame people in the backseat or say they deserved it. I don't like consoling these parents about what's happened, but I'll do it till it stops. Will you please stop? I'm Scott Hoy.
So here's the question, right? What on earth was he trying to communicate? What was he selling? That video has a reputation on YouTube as being the most confusing commercial ever because he didn't communicate anything, just like I did. Blah, blah. But can you see how he thinks he's communicating? He's getting passionate. Like whatever he was trying to say to his customers, he was like really in there saying it, but it didn't actually communicate because you and I and everybody else, 197,000 people watching that video don't get it, right? So make sure the image that you're using, the copy that you're using, the video that you're creating, make sure it actually communicates. Make sure it actually says something. And again, the best way to make sure is to survey. Really ask like 5-10 people, hey, what do you think of this? What does this say to you, right? Before you place that ad. It would take you maybe a couple minutes to run around and ask 5 or 6 people, and you're going to save yourself thousands upon thousands of dollars in some cases. So it's really worthwhile. All right. So that's my first rule. The second rule in promoting yourself and advertising is that logic makes people think, emotion makes people act. So tell me, would you rather people think about your brand or buy something from your brand, right? Pretty obvious, huh? So again, I'm going to show you a classic example, this time of a good job. Someone did a good job of applying this principle. Okay, I know that was kind of breaking up a little bit, and I know that was kind of breaking up a little bit, and I apologize, but you get the point, right? Amazon did a fantastic job with that ad of communicating something and using emotional response to actually make people want to take action, right? Now, regardless of how you feel about Amazon, they do a good job with their advertising, and it's a great example of both of those roles in action. All right, so we talked about analyzing your business, we talked about serving and really understanding your audience, and we've talked about building. There's just one more step, and that's to automate what you're doing so you can have work-life balance. Now, when I say automate, I don't necessarily mean building an automated sales funnel that you never interact with a single human being. I'm simply talking about using growth strategies that don't require you personally as the business owner to always invest your time for money. And that's something that I specialize in. So if you're interested in getting to work with me a little bit more and actually build out systems like this so that you can have a business that survives coronavirus and come out the better for it, please reach out to me at sarahnicolenadler.com. And just so you know, right now I am running a special on my Be Movement coaching program, which I would love to have you be a part of. As you can see on the screen, there's all kinds of really great stuff that goes into it, and I will let you learn all about that on the sales page when you come on over. But as I did say at the beginning, there is some bonus training that goes along with this, and you can find that right here on the place on your screen. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can comment below, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys.